Now, you may think that this is an ordinary bag of tactical marine bits. Let's pull one of these bits out into the light. Here we go. Look at this backpack. Let's look a little closer. It looks well molded. You may notice this strange little hanger on here. If you're familiar with the 2022 Tactical Marine Sprue, you may realize, oh, there's not normally a little bit to trim there. And then you look closer and you say, oh, hang on, the color's a little bit different too. This is a resin recast of the 2022 Mark III Tactical Squad. Now, obviously unpainted, you can spot the difference between a recast and a regular Games Workshop model. But once it's painted, you may never know the difference between a high-quality recast and regular Games Workshop. Especially if you painted this when you were a scrub like me and painted this when you were much better at painting down the line. Hey, I'll admit my own failures. Traditionally, the reason why people would go buy one of these Chinese recast models is because it would be cheaper to buy the resin recast and ship it to the United States than it would be to pay regular Games Workshop MSRP. However, thanks to the new tariffs effective today, that may no longer be the case for US consumers of Warhammer. Here's why. Like I mentioned in my last video regarding tariffs, China was originally given a 34% tariff on Thursday for any and all imports coming into the United States. That was on top of an existing 20% import. However, China turned around and said, if you're going to increase our import tariff by 34%, we're going to increase your import tariffs by 34%. President Donald Trump did not appreciate that and issued an executive order today. Dude, you're not going to believe this. While I was editing this video, President Trump increased the tariff from 104% to 125% in response to the Chinese government increasing the tariff rate to match what he put on them yesterday. Pretty crazy, right? Killed half my video. So let's go back and do some new math. Well, now that Trump is messing with the stock market and my video, let's go back and recalculate what a 125% tariff would look like. So the recaster where I bought these 10 Mark III Tactical Marines from is selling them for $22. If we assume that the recaster is trying to get a 40% gross profit off of these $22 Marines, then we assume that they would have a cost, insurance, and freight of $13.20. Let's remember, the 125% tariff won't be applied to the listed price. It's going to be applied to the cost, insurance, and freight of what it takes to get the item to the United States. A 125% tariff on a cost, insurance, freight value of $13.20 comes out to $16.50, which comes to a total price of $29.70. Speaking from experience, when I have items shipped to me from this particular recaster, shipping tends to be around $20. In theory, that would break $40, which would be the equivalent price of these 10 Tactical Marines from Games Workshop, since they sell in a box of 20 for $80. Noting, of course, that Games Workshop does not sell 10 Tactical Marines for $40. They only come in a box of 80. Major catch. That's also not including the changes to the de minimis exception. Let's talk about that. If you buy a product from a Chinese factory, historically, they ship it to you without a tariff if it costs less than $800. That's called the de minimis loophole. However, President Trump is making changes to that so that it's reflective of either a percentage cost of the product or a flat fee. How much the fee is going to be changing between the dates of May 2nd and June 1st, and then after June 1st, it'll be $150. It's worth noting, the de minimis exception is still up. So if you're looking to buy something from China now that's under $800, the de minimis exception still applies, but it will still be 125% more expensive. So I think at this point, even if Warhammer Recasting from China does not have the de minimis exemption applied to it, it's still going to be almost as expensive, or maybe even a little bit more in some cases, depending on what you're buying, than just buying from your friendly local game store. To me, the math isn't checking out. I'll try to place a few orders in a few days, just shop around, see, compare, contrast, see how the prices change, and then we'll see what happens from there. What do you think? Do you ever use a Warhammer Recaster? Do you prefer 3D printers? Did you know that the biggest 3D printing companies are based out of China and that these tariff increases will apply to them? Let me know down below. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for future videos down the road you'd like me to try to break down. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon. My normal content is painting Warhammer, but I am quite fond of crunching numbers. So hey, hope you have a fantastic day, stay safe, party hard, and I look forward to seeing you next time.